the recent stuff with DeepSeek. Do you have views on that? Because it seems like ChatGPT was kind of becoming the elephant in the room, right? OpenAI and their product ChatGPT. I forget how many billions they had invested into it up until that point, and then all of a sudden, this was a week or two ago, as of this recording, a $5 million investment in this open source alternative called DeepSeek goes live or goes mainstream. That basically is feature to feature comparable. Yep. To this multi-billion-dollar investment. Again, they did it in I think it was less than $6 million. So what does this say about the acceleration of AI innovation? And is it just commoditizing really fast? Should we expect prices to continue to collapse and this thing get cheaper?
I think token price is going to continue to collapse. And I think that just like we laugh about the days when we paid for minutes on the phone, we're going to laugh about the days that we paid for tokens.
And what are tokens? Can you
So basically, yeah. So the current AI systems are using matrix multiplication, and they're basically just doing parallel math really fast. We used to use CPUs, and then we used GPUs, graphical processor units, and now we use TPUs, tensor processing units. And so basically we're taking sentences and paragraphs and chopping them into tokens, and then we're doing the matrix multiplication to do that. And so those are creating something called embeddings. And so when a giant corpus of text is given to a model, the current model, the transformer transforms it into numbers. And that's a math intensive operation, but the TPUs make it a lot easier. And you can't multiply letters together very easily, A times X, but 1 times 23 is really easy to do. And so the new AI systems are able to read the sentence thousands of times and try to figure out what the context was, and then using that to generate whatever the output is that you prompted into it. So, and then back to the DeepSeek point, it obviously scared the markets. There was a big drop in the markets, even in crypto, which always seems to sell off whenever there's a broader sell-off elsewhere because it's where liquidity is. That doesn't really mean that something bad happened for Bitcoin. Right. If anything, technology being deflationary is good for Bitcoin. So in the long run, I think AI is going to be a huge tailwind for us, orange-pilled folks. But,
for sure.
But yeah, I think what it means is that where's the value going to accrue? It's probably not going to accrue at the model level. It's going to accrue at the level of whatever applications are being built on top of the model, like the application layer. And the input, the DeepSeek or whatever model you choose to use, getting cheaper and cheaper and cheaper, is just stretching the rubber band out even farther between what it costs to deliver value and how much value you can deliver. And that's always a good thing for anyone who's in an economy. Yeah. Except maybe someone who has way too much capital invested in a first mover. This is where first mover sometimes isn't an advantage, and it can be an actual disadvantage technology.
Yeah. So how did they get it to be feature comparable to ChatGPT? Was this like a reverse engineering process?
Well, there's some debate, right? So some people think that maybe that $5 or $6 million training cost isn't really the training cost, and they're kind of fudging the numbers a little bit. Because what's impressive about DeepSeek isn't just the performance, but it's the cost performance. So if they're fibbing about the cost, then the cost performance looks less impressive. But let's just assume that they're keeping it real, right? The second beef that people have is they say, well, all DeepSeek did was drain ChatGPT, have lots of conversations with ChatGPT, and then they use that to label data, and they use that to you work on their SFT, their supervised fine tuning, and their relational. Basically they're saying, oh, it copied ChatGPT's homework. But you know what? ChatGPT scraped the internet. Sure. ChatGPT copied the internet's homework, and I think that's just the way it's going to going forward. And now, you said something like it has feature parity. Frankly, DeepSeek has something that OpenAI doesn't have really, which is exposed reasoning, where you can actually see the model working through what it thinks you're asking it and what direction it thinks it's supposed to go. And quickly, you're seeing the other model providers like Anthropic and stuff exposing reasoning because they realize that's actually a killer feature. People love to see what was it thinking when it gave me this answer.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, that's what people are doing on podcasts oftentimes, right? It's like, here's your opinion. Why is that your opinion? How did you arrive at that conclusion?
Yeah.
What is that? Is that because it's open source software? It's showing that reasoning, or is that just a feature that DeepSeek introduced?
I think that was an intentional design choice by them. They were probably using it to QA the model and make it better while they were developing it, and then well, I'm not inside their head, but I think they probably said, yeah, that's actually very interesting to expose that to the user. Yeah. That's one of my favorite features of DeepSeek, even though the API has been difficult to reach lately.
What do you mean there?
They've had a lot of downtime with the API.
Because it just blew up.
It could, exactly. A lot of interest and Also, maybe the Chinese government isn't so comfortable with how much interest it's having as well.
Right. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this episode, click here to find more just like it, and here to find our most recent episode. Also, make sure to like this video to help shine light on the corruption of money, and be sure to subscribe to this channel to stay connected.